Hey everyone, Christina from Skopje here, and today we have Oprah Omeka coming from Kenya to join us, who's an architecture student, a 23-year-old photographer, self-taught, and she's going to talk about how she's changed her style and moved from black and white to portraits to nature shots to really express herself and help herself during this very difficult time. Photography has been a huge source of comfort for her, as I'm sure many of you too. And so Oprah will be joining us from Kenya to talk about her experience as a student of architecture, how she sees the world, and how she's using it to build her personal style and her photography and share those stories and capture them with the world. Hey, Oprah.
Hey,
Okay, awesome. So I know a lot of people are really excited to hear from you. We have a lot of people joining here that can ask you questions, but I think it's super interesting that you started by yourself working on this art. And as an architecture student, I'm sure you have a very unique perspective. So tell us where you're from, where you grew up, and why you even decided to do architecture, and then from there, you can tell us about your photography and your experience.
I'm Kenyan. I'm from Nyanza region, Kisii County. Okay, I decided to do architecture in high school because every time I traveled from home to school, I had to go through the Rift Valley. And okay, they just began developing it, and I didn't like the way they were. It seemed like it was creating an urban sprawl which wasn't planned, and that's when I developed the need to create planned spaces, like better place for people to live in.
In what city?
The place called Narok, that's between my county and Nairobi. It's in the Rift Valley. Yeah, when I first passed there, I was 9 years old, and it was mostly wilderness. You'd see zebras on the road, sometimes even a lion on the road. Then later, but by the time I was in high school, I was around 13 years old, there were developments all over, and soon the river was dirty. It wasn't well planned. I went to high school in Kikuyu. It's in central Kenya. Then from there, when I joined School of Architecture in JKUAT, still in central Kenya, but closer to Nairobi. So, okay, I became a photographer after second year. In second year, we had a photography unit in which we were supposed to research on aspects of photography like ISO, aperture, shutter speed. I had no idea how to use it. One of my friends, Jeremy, would take the photos with my camera while I read the manual to him. So, yeah. Then after that lesson, I began experimenting and learning. Then at first, I really had a liking for black and white photography, monochrome colors, and then mostly portraits, especially emotion, something with emotion, just understanding people. Because by then, I was just trying to figure out myself. Because being depressed, you wonder, why am I so sad? Let me look at other people and maybe understand why are they so happy. And see people smiling, okay, are they really happy? Why are they smiling? Why are they laughing? I want to laugh. So yeah, and then soon, because of looking at other people, realizing how different yet similar we were, in our common project is just life. Everyone is just trying to live. No one wants to just survive. So, and I began writing down small projects, by achieving a small task, and then learning about myself. Just having self-awareness is so empowering, so empowering. You know who you are, and soon, like, I don't know, over time I realized, hey, I'm getting better. I'm more willing to get up in the morning, do something, than if it's just one thing. Every day I got something done, Yeah, and
When did that start?
that was around the end of third year. That was it 2018? Yeah, 2018. It was the end of 2018. And 2019, 2020 is well enough, despite the craziness, it's actually been good. Despite the, okay, at first when we came here, that day was a relief because, okay, it saved us from a marking for our class. But then I thought we'd go on for only 2 weeks. And then the first feeling when you realize you're here for a while, again feeling stuck. Then, I don't know, after a while I began taking photos of my little brother. And realizing, oh, I can do something, even if I'm in an area which I've never really felt like I belong to, and mostly I'm surely within the boundary of our compound. We're not allowed to leave. It's not very safe. But then just looking around, getting something to do every day, just, yeah, it feels so much better, so much better. I feel calmer. I feel like I know myself so much more. Like, I know who Oprah is. I know who Omeka is this year more than I've known, like, I think, the past decade. Yeah.
How did you discover that? Like, how did you learn how to know yourself?
My brain actually feels like I have like so many thoughts. So I began writing them down. Because at first when we were all home, I think we were home, there was my brothers, my mom, my dad, and it feels crowded. Even my brain would feel crowded, like there are people in my brain. So I just go and stay in my room. Then I began writing down all my thoughts. Any ideas, random thoughts, even a color. Today I thought maybe blue. I just write down blue. Or an idea for the project in school, or a photography idea, or what I would like to do in terms of architecture after school, or what I like to do in terms of photography after school, what I'd like to do to photography right now. And then, okay, realizing, okay, what do you like, what don't you like, why are your friends your friends, how did they become my friends? And the friends I've had since kindergarten, and they're still my friends. So to wonder, wait, how am I able to be friends with them yet? Normally, I have such extreme social anxiety. And then I realized I have such long-term friends. I have very few friends, but they've been there a long time. How are they able to be my friends this whole time? Despite, like, I've been a different person. In primary school, I was very happy. Then by class 8, I was an angry person. In high school, yeah, I was really angry. Then sad. And now I think I'm more calm, relaxed, put together.
Someone gets your art.
Yeah, finally. Yeah, and see, that's what art. Just calling it art, because for photography, sometimes you call every image a picture. It's a picture. It's a picture. What's a picture? What's a photo? What's a pic? What's a photograph? So, and then finally, it's all art. Right now with this pandemic, being stuck in one place, it no longer feels being stuck, because finally it's okay. Put your house in order, and your house, it's your brain. Just flip through all those books, like it's biology and chemistry and physics and math and art all in your brain, and instead of putting just as, because I'm actually think of my brain as a large book, like an encyclopedia of very many topics and subjects put together. Finally, just this holiday, getting to arrange them. Okay, let's put up topics. Let's put themes. Let's put themes to it, and colors. I don't know. It's actually a bit nice, I have to say. You may not earn anything, but I don't know, just getting yourself together and knowing who you are feels empowering. You feel so powerful. You get calm. Finally, you got it. Okay.
How did you learn how to edit?
Oh, that was a process. At first, I didn't edit photos. I think you've seen most of my photos to Scorpio are not edited, and some are. So, okay, a friend of mine called Ed gave me Adobe Photoshop and Lightroom. He installed them in my computer, which is now my brother's computer.
Who got it for you?
Ed, a friend of mine called Ed. He's Ed Pixels on Instagram. He's installed them in my laptop.
Bought you like a year account or something?
Yeah.
That's so nice.
And on my phone, a classmate called Ryan, I think he's right now here,
Hi, Ryan.
told me about Snapseed. Yeah.
So yeah, you do a lot of portrait photography, but you're an architect. What is like, how do you feel about your surroundings?
Oof. I really like our house at home, especially when I'm home alone. Like right now, my brothers have left. I think talking to myself on my phone was comfortable. They've all left. Okay, the architecture here is mostly vernacular. People don't like to employ architects, and people ask me, okay, what's an architect? It's rural Kenya. It's rural Kenya. So most times, people, I've only heard of engineers. So an architect, it sounds foreign. It's a foreign concept still. So
Wow.
yeah, but in Nairobi, people know architects, and architects who we blame when a house collapses. But here in Kenya, they blame the authorities. And okay, that is mostly vernacular. And okay, most of the buildings are brick, but it's local masons who come up with the plans and not that. They didn't even draw it, they just plan it and they build it. Yeah, I should take more pictures and post. Yeah. Like right now, I'm looking outside the window and our neighbor's wall is all brick. There's a rental in front of our house, brick, and it's mostly concrete and plaster.
Tell us more about like what inspires you and what you want to do now. Like now that you have understood a little bit more about how to use these tools, like what more do you want to do? Because again, photography, like how do you see this evolving for you?
How do I see this evolving? I'd like to learn different techniques. Like, okay, mostly right now I use a kit lens and a zoom lens. I really want to use a 50mm to do more full body shots and lifestyle photos, especially here in rural Kenya before the pandemic ends, because we live. So, and then to have more people and their lives, everything about their lives, workplaces, where they live, what they do, just to include more people in my project. I like to be around more people. I'm feel very introverted and alone, but yeah, I think slowly I'd like to have more and more people in my project. I like to do photos in town, even when we go back to Nairobi in the city. Even here in our local town, yeah.
Yeah, like for me, it's funny because all the pictures, I know you know this, but all the pictures are of Africa or of like poverty and like destruction, and it's so like West United Nations type of images. But it's amazing how like it needs initiative, like people like you that show a new aspect and a modern life, because everything else looks like it could be any time, and it's just, and it's a problem in of course other places, but I love to see your pictures because it like shows people like, okay, this is somebody's life right now, and this is the creativity that's going on. And I know sometimes it's like it's not your responsibility to do that, but at the same time, like spreading that is so powerful, and especially once you mix the story in with it too. And that's not just about people, by the way, that's about locations. So many times, like we had a Libyan photographer from Libya, and I was like, I never saw your country. I don't know what it looks like. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand. Telling an African story, as me, sometimes when you look on adverts on TV, say Africa, you think, okay, where is that? Where? And it's the photos that are everywhere of the poverty and all that. But right now, yes, I think, okay, it's not a responsibility as you said, but still, I think we do have a duty to show people this is my home, this is what it looks like. It's not as bad as people portray it to be. Yes, there are people whose lives are not great, but at the same time, people have moved forward. People live, people can afford their lives, people can afford to live, not just survive. And the city, the town, like Nairobi is pretty modern, very modern. I remember in primary school reading a book of some tourist who was very grumpy and angry because he apparently landed in a European city in Africa called Nairobi. So, yeah, but it's by Africa. It's mostly by African architects. Like KITC was partly by a white architect and a Kenyan architect, but the idea was African. Even the colors are very earthy tones, and it's African. And I remember learning history of African architecture in second year, learning drawing KITC in first year, just with the idea of an African heart made into a skyscraper. No. Yeah, so
you said you were like,
I should do more.
You said when you were younger, you were like, yeah, I was angry when I was younger, and then like sad, and then like made me think like people like you, that they're really passionate about changing things around them, and if they feel like they cannot do that, they become sad. So I do love that you found like photography, and architecture is, by the way, like so much even more fascinating to me, because again, I don't think there's that many women in architecture, and you can actually build people's environment around them and change everything for hundreds of years. So you're actually able to do much more. So hopefully that gives you, that agency that you're getting gives you some strength. And as you said, that you're creating something. So you look back and you see, okay, I had all during quarantine, I had all of this art that took a, that took a snapshot. Hopefully that's actually more valuable, not just to you and your friends, but, maybe people in history, they want to look back and they want to like learn about that time. So.
Yeah. Like, okay, right now in my class in school, girls are less than a third of the number. We're like less than 30 girls, and the class in total is about 100. And okay, I think I learned so much from other women in real estate. There's a group in our country called Women in Real Estate, which brings all women in different areas in real estate, from to surveyors. Okay, the last time I went to a meeting, it was a competition for a maternity hospital. It was supposed to improve an existing maternity hospital. And I remember the people talking to us were nurses who tried to create their own private hospitals just to improve the experience. And the one who was talking about, she said that one of the best feedback she'd ever got from a patient was, they were nice to me. Just that how people are so used to substandard areas, hospitals which are not meant to be hospitals, just a building. They said, okay, that can be a hospital. Yeah. And then later people decided, okay, you can just copy paste this to make another hospital. But then for her, she thought even about the whole experience and said, I should at least make these women feel humane. You just feel human. And even just before we left, we were giving our proposals to our lecturer for our sixth year projects. And most people in our class people really thought, people were so creative. Like, okay, a friend of mine began with a portable maternity units. Another classmate came up with buildings which are accessible to all sorts of disabilities, buildings for the deaf, blind, but making them everyday buildings, so that for every new building constructed, we think about every aspect of society. Everyone who is human, so they should have access to every building. Just having images to support people's ideas. An image helps people understand what you're saying and your ideas so much better and so much easily and faster. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just about like thinking about things. It's for me, it's people like you that actually try it and do it. And then if you have an idea of a project like that, then it's just going through it as much as you can, even if it's not going to happen. That way you have like things that you've created and skeletoned and worked on it. And then your creativity muscle gets better and stronger. And then you can think of more ideas and more things. So it's a process.
Yeah, and thank goodness, part of our unit is, okay, once you come up with a proposal, you do research, and finally you create a model, a physical model to illustrate what you meant. Yeah. And so obviously in research, you have to get images of existing buildings and how to improve them, or images which already have part of the idea you want.
Yeah, so I mean, a good project too is if you have your friends that are going and taking pictures of these buildings, even saving them all and putting them up, even on your own website or wherever, then you're also like giving that to the next people that need that research. So a lot of times like that research doesn't get saved. So even those images, just organizing them is one big step.
Yes, it is. It is.
Yeah, or the final projects or whatever. It's a lot about documentation.
Yeah.
Like I feel like photography is art, but it's also documentation.
Yeah, it is. I'd also like to mention that some of the most creative people I've also met in terms of photography, I met them in School of Architecture. I mean, the 5th year class, and in the 4th year class, there's this group, which, okay, one of them is to be a classmate, and she leads Fractured. Okay, there's an image I once created with them, which I called Golden Exoskeleton. I surprised myself. She just invited me to a photo shoot and told me, okay, do whatever. And then noticing, wait, almost everyone there was from School of Architecture. We all learned in the same building. I thought, okay, so somehow just being in School of Architecture all inspired us to create all these images, you know.
My favorite images are architecture images. I really do love people images, but ones like this, where you're just like, you want to know, where is that building? And we have so many buildings like that, like images on the website. So you can look on Scopio too for some ideas of how people have taken like portions of architecture buildings and it like transforms you into a whole other planet. It's so interesting.
I agree.
But yeah, I mean, you have a unique lens as a builder and as a artist, so it's great to see that come out. And I know that because in your images too, you use your spaces as a part of the person. So a lot of people just use the person as the center, but you're integrating the natural environment, and that's what makes your pictures interesting or more unique.
Thanks. I didn't even notice that in my photos. I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I love to know what people's backgrounds are, because photography is like such a crazy range of things, like that it really matters like what they actually do outside of it, and you can see that come out in the art. So so thank you for sharing, and I'd love to know too what you would like from the Scopio community, like what would be helpful for you from the community. What would you like us to do more of? Who would you like to meet? Okay. Or what would you,
okay, I think, right now, I haven't really looked into it so much, but okay, so far it's been good. So, okay. Nah, I don't think there's anything new. Oh, you said there'll be a photographer's portal coming up, so still waiting for that. And sometimes when I search and then search, wait, and then it's okay, are you entering as a buyer? And it gets a bit confusing when you're logging in. And so I actually use the email to send me to log in, because logging in just by typing in Skopje, I don't know, it sometimes you get all jumbled up in the website. So I actually use the email to send me to log in. That really makes it so much easier.
Yeah. So the logins now are for the buyers on the website, but the portal now will give you your own login. So all photographers can just submit on Skopje/submit right now, and then it all gets into your account on the back end of the system. But now when you log into the portal, you'll see all of the submitted images, all the approved images, what's pending, what model releases need to be filled out. So we'll get that for you. But hopefully we can also do more things for you, like if you'd like to be introduced to the other architecture photographers, or you want to meet people in Kenya, we have hundreds of photographers there. We can group and create more like online activities for you. If there's something you want to learn about and one of our photographers is really good at that, we can also set that up. So definitely keep that in mind and let us know if you have an idea.
Yeah, and okay, creating groups where people maybe suggest challenges or themes to which we can post. Or like right now, I noticed you had this challenge where people had to submit 50 to 100 photos within this date. Yeah, that was nice. It encourages, it makes you reach your own deadline. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. We might need one. We might need to do one for like lately. I've been so not annoyed, but not even confused, but it's so hard to get images of people over 50. Like all of the images we get are like younger people. And I realize like, they have to like take their parents or their grandparents, but we're missing like half of the planet. And it would be so great to get like older people and see, like not even older, like our parents' generation. And
sometimes I want to submit photos of my grandmother, but then I realize she can't sign a model release because her phone doesn't even have internet. So
yeah, well, you can sit with her and you can just put her email, like do it, and then just put another email maybe for your mom or something.
Yeah, maybe my mom to sign for her because she cannot.
That would be great. I would love to see her grandmother. And I know a lot of people like they need that too. So yeah, that's a big topic area. Another one is obviously people living their lives with COVID, walking around with masks, etc. And then it's hard also for children to get images of children. It's pretty hard with them studying and learning. Somebody saying it's a festival of 50s here in Japan. No, what's the festival about? Festivals are cool also to take pictures of, but now it's quarantine, so we can't do that. So everyday life for me is interesting if we can get more. So maybe we'll do a challenge around that. But also the architecture is really amazing, especially when they become backgrounds. So because everybody's working online now, they need more images just like that are clean. So like just like the backgrounds, but they can be of anything. So those are amazing if you can just get like a clean shot of something. That can be used for a lot of different ways. It helps people with their art and their ideas.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, those are some of the like latest things since COVID that I see people are really looking for.
Okay, yeah, I should take more photos than from today.
Yeah, but we'll I'll talk with my team. Maybe we'll do another challenge for it. But we also you to have the freedom. Like we never want to have anybody do what we want them to do. We want you to do what you want to do. So, so that's the concept with Skopje that's different than other websites, where we encourage you to just bring your art to us because that's what makes you unique. So,
yeah. I noticed that yes, your platform, I can literally just post anything. You know, when you think stock photography, there's an image that comes in your head. You know,
Yeah.
those cleans sometimes they look staged, and then you see in Scorpio and it looks okay. They allow that much editing, you know, or they allow something that just looks like it's almost painted. That it's a photo. It's so artistic, and you think, wait, that's still stock photography. I didn't know that. So like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I think what makes it called stock photography is that it can be licensed and used by other people. So so that's it, is that we're getting your permission and then people can use that. So that's what makes the difference between stock photography and anything else. But the way that they used to do it was they used to hire models and and go to a studio, and they would pay that model for the day or whatever. And then they would take pictures of her doing all sorts of different things, and then they would put them up on the website. But now people know that's fake and they don't want that anymore. And like finally the world has given us access so that I can talk to you. That this is new that we can have this interaction. That's amazing. So so Scopio's goal is to create a community for everyone around the world that has their unique style and their art, to be able to own their images and then distribute them, so that people, whether they're in your local community or they care about that subject, can use them, and then that stays for a long time. So you know, for example, the Black Lives Matter pictures that we've been getting lately, I'm like, in 20 years, I hope these make their way into a museum. You know, instead of being stuck on somebody's camera, we can get them and make them used or in a building or sharing. So that's like, I encourage you to also think that whether they're on Scopio or not, that these images have meaning. And especially if you're talking about architecture, locations of where you're placing these images in person are just as important as being online.
Yeah, I agree. And okay, I'm so glad that Black Lives Matter movement has it has gone on for so long. Okay, people this time didn't just get fatigued from it, and then brands, almost everyone is embracing it. Everyone is seeing it as okay, this is important. Let's talk about it. Like, and it's everyone. People here in Africa, people everywhere. Finally, people are talking about something, and it's everyone, and everyone's listening. You know, it's been great. It's been great.
I know. I am so happy that like people are now thinking about it in a really hard way. Like everyone's getting headaches because they're not understanding. But even like my friend, she was telling her, like her colleague at work, she's like, I didn't know that when you know, when your son was a teenager, that you were more worried about him when he's driving a car. I'm like, what country do we live in where people don't know what's happening in other people's lives? Like, these are things that we've been watching on TV and we've been hearing about for a long time. So I think, again, for us, distributing these images, these ideas, showing more things is valuable, because unfortunately, like the media and so many places have vilified, like they've been picking the wrong things to talk about. I think, you know, they've been like trying to show violence, trying to show crime. Like, why can't we show positive things for people, so that they're like, why are we trying to make people scared all the time? So there's a lot going on in America with that. So it's not been easy for anybody. And thank God for the artists that have just been pushing through it and just, you know, trying to make an impact, even though it's not their job to do that. You know, they have their own lives to run. So I think we're going to close, is there something you want to leave with the audience? Something you want to tell people or encourage people to do?
Yeah, okay. Before we came on, you asked me if there's anything I'd like to say to people dealing with anxiety and depression.
Yeah.
I'd like them to just know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and totally believe it, and to create small achievable goals that they'd like to achieve, and find a way to be self-aware, whether it's journaling, writing a diary, or even writing one word to describe your emotion every day, or even meditation. Just finding a way to be self-aware and finding a reason to get up every day. Even if it's finding a site where you just go get an image to finally just awaken that happiness within.
Yeah, I mean, the world is so like hard, but again, we've never had less war, and like we've never had less war, we've never had more peace, but still it feels like it's the worst time. But if we look back on like World War I, World War II, some people were stuck underground for years. And so we are like fortunate to have that, and gratitude is helpful, but it's also like really stressful and creates a lot of anxiety for people when they feel like they're not being heard, that they can't make a difference, that they like, so you suggesting that, or giving people an attitude, like an action, like, no, write your feelings down, create something, make a plan, that will help reduce it, because planning also is good, but then when you see your finished product, whether it is writing it down or whether it is something like a photograph, then you can see like, I did this, you know, and then you can credit. But you know, people need, like, we need people like you that are going out there and creating things, and you know, making a difference in your community. And it's not made for you to do that, so it's really hard probably, because you're like always just facing these obstacles and difficulties, and not everyone's just patting you on the back and saying, keep going, great job, like great photo, great, you know, design or whatever. So you have to like find that within yourself, and hopefully communities like Skopje can help encourage people and be a positive place. So so thanks for sharing that. I know it's not easy to talk about it, but a lot of people feel it now. Yeah, so it's, everyone's getting hit so hard, but we'll turn lemons into lemonade, as they say.
True. Okay. Previously, it wasn't easy, and I wouldn't even admit I was depressed. But right now, I think feeling better, it's so much easier to talk about it. Though, okay, I was very surprised when you guys asked me to talk about it, because it's not something I talk about anymore. Or ever, you know, you just want to put it behind you. Then you guys asked me to talk about it. I said, okay, why not? Why not? Why not? It helps someone else. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people feel it, and you can always go back into it, but the challenge is, I really like, do you feel like that is because it's like something that you feel like is inside of you that you're unable to like express? Is that where you feel like it comes from?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you just feel like whatever
Sometimes
you do, it's not going to be enough or whatever, nobody cares, but people do care.
true. And sometimes even when you yourself don't even understand why you're so depressed, and then sometimes, and then, okay, for me, I had a friend actually now will tell me, okay, I'm feeling like this. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm not alone. Then we talk, you know, and somehow we're able to help each other. Yeah. So
Yeah, exactly. So it's always good to seek like communities and help and have fun, and also have fun. Like, you can have fun in new ways now. Hopefully photography is fun for you, getting your friends, your family together, creating something, like everyone has fun with it. So I think a lot of it is just reminding yourself also to have fun and enjoy your life.
true. To live, not just exist and survive. To actually feel like you're living, you know.
Yeah, and enjoy that.
Yeah, true.
Exactly.
So
Well, thank you so much.
thanks for having me.